Watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
It's a beautiful Friday evening in New York City. It was a great Thursday evening for Robinson Cano with 3 big hits and a big home run as well. And Curtis Granderson also went yard as they're both trying to find their stroke. As tonight, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Seattle Mariners in the first game of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball along with David Cohn. I'm Michael Kay. Yankees took 2 out of 3 from the Tampa Bay Rays last night, 5-3. CC Sabathia pitched a beautiful ball game. He went 8 innings, did not give up an earned run, but he got some offensive help from Granderson and Cano, David.
He did, and Granderson just keeps on keeping on from last year in that home run barrage of a season he had. He just gets it going again. He's so quick on the inner half. Watch that quick snatch. Ever since he changed his swing, keeping both hands on the bat, he keeps that ball fair. He used to hit that ball foul when he was in Detroit, and of course, we've been waiting for Robinson Cano. When's he going to get it going? A nice, fat, flat slider from David Price helps, and he mashes it way back over the bullpen. Cano is the guy that's had a lot of base runners, and the Yankees need him to come through. It looks like he's starting to get it going.
Last 4 games, Granderson, the average not where he wants it, but 2 home runs, 3 ribbies. And look at Cano, 8 for 16, 2 home runs, and 7 runs batted in. Let's take a look now at tonight's New York Lottery pitching matchup. It's the king against the hero. Felix Hernandez, 3-1, 1.89. We'll talk about him in a moment. Yankee starter Hiroki Kuroda, 2-4, 3.75. The guy that the Yankees call hero wasn't that great in Kansas City, but not that bad, David.
No, I don't really blame that loss on him, even though he would probably tell you that he should have pitched better. He didn't get a lot of support. It seems like the whole year there's been boots behind him. He hasn't really gotten a lot of run support either. And, of course, one of the best doubles hitters in the game, Billy Butler, really got him not only once, but twice. And Billy Butler can do that to a lot of pitchers in the American League. Hiroki Kuroda, he had about mid-80s pitches in the 5th inning. Joe Girardi said that's going to be it. He wanted to go lefty-righty to try to limit the damage. Not his best start, but you know what? It wasn't that bad either.
Well, he's got to pitch well tonight because his mound opponent is absolutely outstanding, one of the best in the game. David Cohn will come back and break down the great Felix Hernandez next, right here on Yes. Everybody, that's David Cohn, and I'm Michael Kay. David, I was thinking about this. If you have a nickname of the king, you're pretty good. LeBron James, Elvis Presley, Felix Hernandez, and I think he's earning that.
He is earning that. I mean, he broke into the big leagues when he was 19 years old. He was a man-child, and he's pitched like it ever since. He's sort of the anti-Verducci rules guy. I mean, he's had a heavy workload from a teenager till he's 26 years old. He's got all the pitches. Gas, change-ups down. kind of looks like Sabathia there, the way he turns and hides the ball. Look at him hide the ball so well with that nasty curveball down and in. King Felix has got the total package, and he's off to the best start of his career so far.
This kid's off to a decent start. Remember, he was a Yankee, one of their top prospects, but he got dealt to the Mariners. We'll see Jesus Montero lineups first pitch baseball next. Zero calories, maximum Pepsi taste. By J&R Music and Computer World. And by the professionals at your Tri-State GMC dealer. Why just go when you can go pro? Really beautiful night here in New York City. Great day for baseball, great night for baseball. Hiroki Kuroda taking his warm-ups, and we'll take a look at the Mariners starting lineup. They come in at 15 and 18, and they lead off their second baseman, Dustin Ackley. Brendan Ryan, the shortstop, will bat second. Ichiro Suzuki in right field hits third. Jesus Montero catches, he'll clean up. Batting fifth and playing third base, Kyle Seager. John Jaso, the DH, will bat sixth. Batting seventh and playing first base, struggling Justin Smoke. Mike Karp is in left field. He's going to bat eighth, and batting ninth and playing center field is Michael Saunders.
We're going to look at Hiroki Kuroda on the season. Struggled in his last start. We covered that in the pregame show. The righty has had his troubles this year, but he has actually, been good and bad, but not a lot of support, Michael. I think Kuroda could use a little run support and a little defensive support, and obviously a little more consistency.
You would think, David, with a 3.75 ERA, his record would be 2-4, would be better than 2-4. But the Yankees do have to score some runs for him. So we're ready for baseball here in the Bronx. Ackley is set, and so is Kuroda. And let's do it as the first pitch is upstairs, and we're underway. Ackley carries a 6-game hitting streak into tonight's game. The 1-0. Off speed for a strike, 1-1. Mariners have won 4 of 5. As Ackley hits one deep the other way, giving chase is Ibanez. Looking up, see ya! Opposite field power for Ackley. Goes deep to left to put the Mariners up 1-0.
See the replay here. This will be 6 for 7, where Hiroki Kuroda has allowed the first run of the game. Other way. Up and out over the plate. You don't expect that ball to jump out of here from off of Ackley's bat, but it did.
Here's Brendan Ryan. There's a strike. Now, we talked about this yesterday with that great pitching matchup of Price against Sabathia. Pitchers always say, well, I'm not pitching against the other pitcher. In a way, you are. So Kuroda can't give up too many because Hernandez certainly won't. And the count 0-2 on Ryan. So 19 runs Kuroda has allowed this year, and 10 of them have come in the first inning. Tap slowly back to Kuroda. One down. Let's take a look at the numbers on the season for Kuroda. We told you he's 2-4, and his ERA is 3.75, more than a hit per inning, 273 batting average against.
We'll go through the scout report. He has had lefty trouble this year. Left-handed batters, as we just saw Ackley added to that, are hitting 375 off of him this year. And right-handed batters just 164. That's a big differential. And first pitch damage, when the first pitch is put into play this year, hitters are batting .529 off of Hiroki Kuroda on first pitch damage. 9 for 17 with 2 homers and still no support. Defensively, offensively, he's still only getting a little over 3 runs a game to work with. And contrast that to Sabathia and Nova. They're getting over 7 runs of run support to work with. Kuroda has been plagued when he was with the Dodgers and over here with poor run support.
Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, his first year with Kuroda. David, let's go inside those numbers a little bit. What does that first pitch damage mean? What do we read into that?
Well, you know, what I'm thinking is that, you know, a lot of times what I've seen this year from him and a little bit in his Dodgers career is some get-me-over breaking balls that hang out over the plate.
Ichiro pops it up. Alex Rodriguez in foul territory will make the play for the second out.
You know, Kuroda's a control pitcher. You know, he tries to get ahead with that first pitch. Sometimes he leaves it up out over the plate and gets hurt on it.
The catcher, number 63.
All right, here is Jesus Montero returning to Yankee Stadium for the first time in an opposing uniform. Obviously had a very big month of September for the Yankees. 61 at-bats, hit .328, 4 homers and 12 ribbies, and he was part of that big deal during the offseason where the Yankees got back Michael Pineda and Jose Campos. And both of those guys are on the DL. Pineda just had major shoulder surgery, and Campos got off to a great start in A-ball, but now is on the DL with a sore elbow. 1-1. Eric Wedge has not gone exclusively with Montero behind the plate. He's played 31 games now, and he's caught in 11 of them. Miguel Olivo is now on the DL, and Jaso is an option behind the plate. And that was one of the knocks against Montero. Would he be able to catch, be an everyday catcher in the big leagues? Not too many people doubted he could hit. And it seemed like this ballpark, the way the ball flies out to right center, was certainly made for him. Safeco Field plays a lot bigger out that way. He goes to right, but on the ground to Cano. And that'll do it. So Ackley with a leadoff home run. Mariners won, and the New York Yankees coming to bat against the King. Felix Hernandez will try to make that hold up, and tonight's Yankees starting lineup is presented by Lexus. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter, leads off, batting second and playing center field. Curtis Granderson. Alex Rodriguez at third base will hit third. Cleaning up, second baseman Robinson Cano. Mark Teixeira at first base will bat fifth. Batting sixth, playing right field, Nick Swisher. Raul Ibanez in left field hit seventh. The number 8 hitter is the DH, Eric Chavez, back off the DL after a concussion stay. And Russell Martin will catch, and he's going to bat ninth.
And there he is on center stage where he likes it. King Felix. Hard to believe, Michael. This is his 8th year already. He broke in when he was 19 years old. Those numbers represent probably his best start of his career, including strikeouts and innings pitched. And scouting report, like I said, he's off to a great start across the board. 6 out of 7 quality starts. His ERA, strikeouts per 9, all those numbers are better than they've ever been. He's a workhorse. 7.5 innings per start. That leads the American League. And, you know, loves center stage. We've said it before. Here in New York at the new Yankee Stadium, he's 3-0 with an 0.38 ERA. That's just 1 earned run in the last 24 innings here. He loves pitching in the Apple.
Let's see how he does here with a 1-0 lead. Derek Jeter will lead off. First of 3 between the Yankees and Seattle. That one is driven out to right field. Ichiro comes in toward the line and makes the catch for the first out. Ball was twisting away from him, but he stayed with it.
Ichiro kind of surrounded that ball. You could see that he thought maybe his first step was kind of to the side. He thought that ball was going to carry a little further than it did, but he readjusts, takes up a couple of divots, and a good grass stain on the knee and a finger point from King Felix.
Here's Granderson. And a strike. Home plate umpire is Gary Darling. Grounded through for a base hit. Past Smoke into right field. Let's check out the Mariners defense, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. In the outfield, Karp, Saunders, and Suzuki. That's left to right. Infield, Seager, Ryan, Ackley, and Smoke, third to first. Montero is behind the plate, and King Felix is on the mound. Here's Alex Rodriguez. And a strike. Has not allowed a first inning run in his last 18 starts. Longest current streak in the majors and the longest in Seattle history. Another strike, 0-2.
Yeah, that's incredibly difficult to do, Michael, speaking from experience. Just the consistency of his pitches. And, you know, Felix doesn't throw the ball in the upper 90s like he used to. You know, he's coming out tonight throwing 89, 90, 91, but he really mixes his pitches well.
Count 1-2. Alex, 13 hits and 33 at bats in the month of May. That's .394. Yankees made a roster move before the game. We told you Eric Chavez the DH tonight. And to make room on the roster for him coming off the DL. Strike 3. Alex down looking. The Yankees sent down Eduardo Nunez after he made 2 big errors yesterday, leading to 2 unearned runs against Sabathia. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on, but a little bit of a shocking move. The kid's been around for a couple of years now, but he was just very unsteady in the field.
Yeah, I tell you what, Michael, I mean, that surprised me too, that move, because Nunez has that element of speed. He did have 2 hits last night with 2 stolen bases. He had 6 bags on the year. You know, you're going to lose that dimension on offense, but obviously the throwing problems really bothered the Yankee hierarchy.
Here's Robinson Cano with an 8-game hitting streak. 3 hits yesterday. Big 2-run home run that broke a 2-2 tie. Oh and 1. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. 64 degrees. Humidity is 29%. Wind 15 miles per hour. It's mostly clear and there's no rain in the forecast. Solid numbers against Hernandez. 11 for 31 for Cano. Count 1-1. Runner goes. Foul back.
Granderson had a really good jump and a good pitch to go on there.
Yankees just came off winning 2 of 3 from the Rays, first place Rays. And they were very close to sweeping that series, but David Robertson could not hold the 1-0 lead in the 9th inning in the middle game. Now 3 games here against Seattle. 2-2.
You can see that, one of the weaknesses with King Felix is you can steal on him. He's got kind of a big leg kick. He's not particularly quick to home plate. Granderson had an excellent jump. See on 2-2 here if he tries to take off again. The theory being 2-2, you know he's going to go 3-2 and 2 outs, but with 2-2 and Cano hits a ball in the gap with that Granderson off and running, he would easily score.
He does go, and it's in the dirt. Perfect pitch to go on. Montero couldn't handle it. Stolen base for Granderson.
Hernandez will throw a lot of pitches in the dirt. That changeup, he gets a lot of strikeouts down, and Granderson was off and running, and with the bounce changeup, just no chance for Montero.
There's a line drive to right field. It's a base hit in front of Ichiro. Here comes Granderson. Here's the throw from right. It's cut off from Smoke, and the throw to second gets Cano. But the Yankees have tied the game at 1, and that's the first inning run that Hernandez has allowed in 18 starts. So we've played one exciting first inning. It's a 1-1 game on Yes. 18 starts, but should it have been, David?
I can tell you right there, the ball's cut, and the way Ichiro had the arc on that ball, he's got a great arm. He had it on the line. Boy, how quickly that would have got to Montero. It probably would have been a play at home plate. But Ichiro got a great throwing arm. This ball is a bullet. One hop, it would have been 2 or 3 hops. It would have been really close. Might have lost some steam hitting the grass. I can tell you one thing. King Felix thought ball needs to come home there. A little disappointed, but hard to second guess there. It would have been close, but no real definitive answer there.
Now, is that Montero yelling cut?
I don't think you can hear with the big league crowds. I don't think you can really hear if somebody's yelling cut from 30 feet away. I think it's all on the first baseman to make that determination and make the read.
There's a strike.
Generally in spring training, the catcher will be screaming cut, 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 but sometimes you can't hear, especially with the excitement in a full packed house.
Base hit up the middle. Scott Barry had to jump out of the way, the second base umpire. So Seager with the leadoff single. Teixeira talking to Granderson after the play said you would have been safe. So he had a very good view of it because he was on deck. Here's John Jaso. And a strike. Blocked there by Russell Martin.
Almost the same with Kuroda in his move to first or home. He's not exceptionally quick to home. Sager over there with a pretty big lead, but Seattle could take advantage because Kuroda's not known for holding runners all that well. Tony Pena is responsible for all the signal calling, whether there's going to be a pitch out or a throw over to first. The entire running game is under Tony Pena's control. But you'll see Russell Martin peek into the dugout before every pitch.
Check out the Yankee defense, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. In the outfield, it's Ibanez, Granderson, and Swisher. Infield, A-Rod, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira third to first. Martin's behind the plate, and Kuroda is on the mound. Count 3-1.
Good pitch right here. Kuroda wanted it. Girardi wanted it. And it looked like it was just around the plate. Get a good look here from the overhead cam. You can see it is just off the plate. Nice frame job by Martin, but good eyeball by Jaso.
And then he walked him. So first and second with no one out. Now, the Mariners have been known for the last couple of years as a really bad offensive team, and although they have a low team batting average, one thing you have to know, they're 16th out of 30 teams in the big leagues in runs scored. So they're right in the middle. They can push across more runs than they have in the past because the last 2 years they were dead last in that category, and that's how you keep score. So if they can score runs, they're right in the middle. You've got to hold them down. And when your team gets you a run back against Felix Hernandez, if you're Kuroda, you've got to put a 0 up in this inning. Justin Smoke takes outside.
Yeah, they're trying to change the culture of what type of a lineup they're going to be. You know, they don't walk a lot. Just 7.2% as a team. Percentage-wise, do they walk? And that's the 4th lowest in the American League. And they strike out, too, a lot. 20.2%, which is the 4th highest.
Smoke pops it up. 1 out. These are their ranks in the American League. In runs, they're 10th, average 13th, home runs 11th, and on-base percentage dead last.
It's sort of, you know, as a pitcher, Michael, when I approach different teams in their lineups, it's sort of like, what's their philosophy? Is this going to be a team that takes a lot of first pitches? Are they going to try to walk works? Are they first pitch swingers? You know, Seattle probably more of a hacking type of a team. Although they do have some players that will see some pitches per at bat. It really hasn't translated into a high on base percentage. You know, they just don't get enough opportunities to score a lot of runs. Big change with Ichiro batting third too, as opposed to leading off.
There's Mike Karp. He came over from the Mets in the J.J. Putz deal. And that one is skied into left field. Right there is Ibanez. He'll make the play. Former Seattle Mariner, Raul Ibanez. Michael Saunders. He's playing center field. Franklin Gutierrez, a Gold Glove center fielder, is out with plantar fasciitis. It's a foot injury that really takes a while to get better.
Contrasting, Saunders at the bottom of their order here is one of the guys in that lineup that will see some pitches. He averages 4.15 pitches per at bat, which is 14th best in the American League. That's kind of the difference, Michael. How many pitches per at bat are you going to see? What type of a grind out lineup are you going to be? The teams that always gave me trouble were the diverse teams. You know, 1 or 2 hitters were first pitch fastball hitters, and then other guys would take a strike. And kind of bouncing back and forth. So diversity in a lineup, kind of an underrated facet. The Yankees have it, I think. One of the better lineups in terms of diversity. Seattle trying to find it.
Chopped softly towards second. Cano is there, so Kuroda works out of trouble. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Mark Teixeira will lead off against Hernandez.
That's the bottom line. And, you know, he's got an outstanding fastball, a very good curveball, a good changeup, good slider. I mean, he's going to throw everything at you. So every opportunity you have score a run on, you better take advantage of it.
And the Yankees took advantage in the first inning. Runner at second base with 2 outs. Cano with a single to right scored Granderson, and we are tied at 1. Mark Teixeira digs in, and he takes a strike. Mark just 1 hit in his last 19 at-bats. And the Mariners shift on him with 3 infielders on the right side. The second baseman playing in short right field. So much talk in spring training, a lot of it coming from Mark about how he was working on bunting. We have not seen it. And the whole left side of the infield is open, and he's been struggling. That's as good as a bunt, but off the mound quickly is Felix Hernandez, but it's a base hit for Mark Teixeira.
Well, like Michael said, it is a bunt, but of the swinging variety, off the end of the bat. You can see how Teixeira is so out in front of that curveball that he cues it right off the very edge of the bat. Felix really wanted that one. Put everything he had into that throw, down to one knee. Does not get it.
So Teixeira is on first, and that'll bring up Swisher.
See, you know, when Felix Hernandez, we talked about it, it's hard to believe, Michael, he's been around 8 years. He's only 26 years old. But the days of throwing 97 miles an hour are over. You know, he's coming out, he's throwing 89, 90, 91 miles an hour with this fastball.
High fly ball, deep left. Caught back. In front of the track, he'll make the play.
Very much of a pitcher now. Really mixes his pitches well. All of his off-speed pitches are probably better than his fastball now. His changeup and his breaking stuff, the good curveball and slider, probably his better pitches as opposed to when he first came up. He was legitimate mid-90s, explosive type fastball.
And some pitchers have a real difficult time making the transition once they lose that weapon. Well, how to get people out, but he has certainly made it well. And it almost seems as if he has to pitch great. This is a stat that jumped out at me. He's made 212 major league starts. In 75 of those starts, so more than a third, his team has scored 0 or 1 run for him. It's unbelievable. Dribble to Smoke. He goes to second for 1, and reaching on the fielder's choice is Ibanez. Hernandez has an impressive resume. We know that. He's won a Cy Young Award. 2005 was his major league debut. At age 19, he's made the All-Star team twice. 13-12 record. He still won the Cy Young Award in 2010. Then he's had 200 or more strikeouts his last 3 seasons. Here's Chavez, back from a concussion DL stint. Had to pass some baseline tests to get himself back on the roster. He did that. They activated him tonight, and as we mentioned, sent down Eduardo Nunez to AAA. Colleague Jack Curry is going to join us in the 4th inning. We'll talk more in depth about the Nunez move. Also the latest on Brett Gardner after the game yesterday. Joe Girardi revealed that Gardner could be out another 15 to 25 games with a muscle problem in his elbow area. Non-throwing elbow.
Well, even though it's his non-throwing elbow, batting left-handed, that's his lead arm, his right arm. And, he hits with that a lot because, he goes the other way a lot. He doesn't rely on his top hand so much. He's really more of a line drive, slap style hitter. So that lead arm, his right arm, very important for his batting.
Just missed. That's his fastest fastball of the night, 93 miles an hour. Swing and a miss as Chavez goes down on strikes. No runs a hit, no errors, and one man left on base. We're going to go to the third, top of the Mariner order against Hiroki Kuroda. Four most recent American League Cy Young Award winners would you least like to face? Here are your choices. Is it Cliff Lee, Zach Greinke, Felix Hernandez, or Justin Verlander? You can text your vote to 42951. Standard text messaging rates apply. How would you vote there, David?
Wow, neither. You could just pick your poison on those. But you know what? Verlander is the guy, that can throw the ball 100 miles an hour whenever he wants. Usually late in the game.
Lincoln scoreboard 1-1, top of the third.
The thing about Verlander that's so impressive, he'll come out the first couple of innings throwing 90, 91 miles an hour and sort of just save his arm. And then when he really needs to, all of a sudden there's 97, 98. And then one game earlier this year in the ninth inning, he chalked it up to 100 miles an hour when he really needed it. And that's just amazing to me that he's mastered that ability to control his arm speed.
Count 2-2 on Ackley, who led off the game with an opposite field home run against Kuroda. But the Yankees answered back with a run in the bottom of the inning. We're at 1-1. Ground ball to first. Backhanded nicely by Teixeira. And Kuroda beats Ackley to the bag for the first out.
See that slider on the inner half of the plate, and right here it looks like Kuroda's not going to make it. He's not going to get there, but he does by a step. Not exactly bang bang, but just about a step.
Nice call by Chris Conroy, the first base up. Here's Brendan Ryan. grounded back to the mound in the first. There's a breaking ball strike. This battery familiar with each other as Russell Martin caught Kuroda while he's with the Dodgers. So an automatic comfort level with a new pitcher and the pitcher with the catcher. Russell had yesterday off as Chris Stewart again caught Sabathia for the 5th straight time. And that's a ready-made way to get Russell Martin at least one day off every time through the rotation. Not overuse him. The 1-2. What was that? 2-2.
See where Martin's setting up way off the plate on this slider. He almost brings the glove back in.
The 2-2. Dribbled slowly in front of the plate. Out quickly is Martin. And they get Brendan Ryan. A scary play there for Teixeira, who has to reach into the baseline to make the catch and make sure he doesn't get hit by Ryan.
This is very dangerous for a first baseman. You can see Teixeira knowing that he's got to reach across the line. Still got time to get out of the way there with Brendan Ryan coming up, running on the grass as well. Base runners are supposed to be in that little painted box there, but you rarely see them do that.
Over the years in baseball, you've seen some horrific injuries on that play. Cliff Floyd comes to mind. Harmon Killebrew got hurt that way. Brian Roberts of the Orioles covering first suffered an ugly injury across the street at the old Yankee Stadium. Count 2-1. Ichiro on his 12th year in the big leagues, 38 years old, a .326 lifetime batting average. Last year, the first year he didn't get 200 hits in a season. That one is lofted to left. Backing up is Ibanez, and that'll do it. So Kuroda works a 1-2-3. In the bottom of the third, Russell Martin is going to start it off. Network Yankees games on your PCs or laptops with Verizon Fios. Get a full season of live Yankees games on the go for just $49.99. If you're a Verizon Fios TV customer with Fios Internet, go to YesNetwork.com to get more information and subscribe now. Bottom of the third inning, and the bottom of the order will start it off against Felix Hernandez. On the Lincoln scoreboard, it's 1-1, and Russell Martin, the number 9 hitter, digs in. Hernandez's nickname is King Felix. as Martin hits a fly ball to right. Ichiro makes the play. And in the open, David, I mentioned Elvis Presley, the king. LeBron James, the king. And I'm almost embarrassed I left out somebody who's going to have a big moment tomorrow. Henrik Lundqvist, the king, the Ranger goaltender tomorrow. Game 7 against the Caps at Madison Square Garden. Nothing like it in sports, a 7th game, so we send out our best wishes to the New York Rangers. He is the king.
You have to earn that nickname.
You would think so, right? You better be good. Pitch outside to Jeter.
Sometimes the king can be a sarcastic nickname, too.
True.
Had a couple teammates like that.
Jeter could have worn the crown. He could have been called the king. I don't think he would have worn it comfortably.
Yeah. Captain's pretty good, too.
That's right. Felix Hernandez has allowed 3 opposite field hits, none by righties. Derek Jeter leads the major leagues with 21 opposite field hits. So what gives tonight?
Part of that too, to right-handed hitters, is Felix's sort of change in style and evolution over the years, and from the mid-90s fastball to more off-speed stuff, kind of getting right-handed batters out in front.
Derek flirted with an opposite field hit in the first inning, but a nice sliding play by Ichiro.
Give you an evolution of King Felix and his fastball, Michael. In 2005, he averaged almost 96 miles an hour with his fastball. Progressively down to 94 in 09 to 91 miles an hour this year.
Slow grounder to short. Nice pick by Ryan for the second out.
And what goes along with that repertoire is more changeups. You know, he throws his fastball about 55% of the time, and changeup about 17% of the time, and his curveball as well about 17% of the time. So progressively he's mixed in his off-speed pitches more as his velocity has dropped. At 26 years old, already 8 years in the big leagues, as we said in the opening.
And when you see that drop, you just have to marvel at a guy like Nolan Ryan, who was able to carry it all those years and kept his velocity, and it didn't drop. But and this guy's still effective, though. I don't think the human arm was meant to throw that hard for that long.
I think, you know, as we see Hernandez evolve, and we talked about Justin Verlander as well, as you see Hernandez on the season, I mean, he is just a workhorse. First in innings, third in ERA, strikeouts and whip, and that's all coming into tonight. You know, there's sort of an evolution, a change in thinking, that I don't have to be a maximum effort guy from the first inning on in order to get deep into games, in order to get to the 7th and 8th and 9th inning, especially when you're not getting a lot of run support. You know, you're going to hold back a little bit.
Al Leiter was talking yesterday, David, about how Rick Rhoden, when Al was a kid with the Yankees, he could throw 98. He said, sometimes softer is better. You don't always have to go harder. Take something off. Ground ball right to Smoke. He takes it himself in a 1-2-3 inning for Felix Hernandez. We go to the 4th inning. Jack Curry's going to join us in the booth, and he has a lot of information on all the stories going on with the Yanks. These are some of the stories around the New York Yankees today. Brett Gardner expected to miss 15 to 25 more days. Eduardo Nunez was surprisingly sent down to AAA after 2 errors last night. Eric Chavez was activated from the DL, and that's the spot that Nunez vacated. And Andrew Eugene Pettit is going to start his first game in over a year, and that'll be Sunday, Mother's Day, here at the stadium. Montero takes outside. Jack Curry, our colleague, joins us here up in the booth at Yankee Stadium. And Jack, why don't we start off with Nunez, because I think that's the one that really surprised everybody. He has not fielded the way people expected, but when it was announced that they sent him down, I think everybody was a little shocked.
Right, it was about 4 or 5 questions into the Joe Girardi press conference where Joe offered the information up. Previously, it had been a couple of questions about King Felix and Kuroda, and then Joe said, by the way, we made a move. We sent Nunez down. And you used the proper word, Michael. I think it surprised people. I think, yes, his defense had been an issue. It had become a problem. It was a detriment. But you look at this guy offensively, athletically, he's a major league player. It's the defensive side of it that has been the big issue.
The 0-2 to Montero. So what are their plans for him now?
That's where it gets a little interesting, because Girardi said that they're going to send him to AAA and they want him to take regular reps as a shortstop. They want him to play shortstop 6 days a week, maybe play second base 1 time a week. They think that the experiment of Nunez trying to be a utility player may have led to the problems defensively. Now, I asked the question to Joe, you have a shortstop who is signed for this year and next year, and there is an option for 2014, which, the way Derek Jeter is playing, I think we all believe he's going to keep on playing. Does that slow Nunez's chances of getting back to the major leagues? And Joe just said, let's let this stuff play out. We don't know where this is going to go. I wonder if they sent him down to gain some of his confidence back.
There's a ground ball to the aforementioned Jeter, 1 away. I also wonder if they sent him down to build his value back up as a shortstop, because if he's not going to be up here playing shortstop for another 3 years.
That's a valid point, too, and that was one of the things that was mentioned on the field today as writers and media members bandied things back and forth. Could that be one of the things that they're trying to do here? I just talk about the point that David brought up earlier, too. Without Nunez and with Gardner still on the disabled list, the Yankees don't have anyone who's going to run. Alex Rodriguez would be their next leading base stealer with 3, and we know Alex is not going to run that often, so they lose a big dimension without having Nunez here.
All right, so the guy who's going to be playing shortstop at second is going to be Knicks. Why not bring up Ramiro Pena?
Well, Pena is injured or coming off an injury right now, so I think that's why you eliminate him from that consideration. But going forward, that could be the consideration. And I wonder if there's more at play here. Do they just let him go down there? 8 or 10 days from now, the kid is hitting .350. He gets some of his confidence back. He's caught everything at shortstop and second, and then you bring him back and you let him back up at those positions. I wonder if that's a possibility. Joe Girardi wasn't going that deep into the future.
Well, Jack, let me put it to you this way. Nunez has played 155 games for the Yankees, and over the last 3 years, he's made 25 errors in 155 games. 20 of those errors were last year. So he made 4 errors this year. Out of those 25 errors, everybody agrees that the majority of them were throwing errors. And he's bounced around second, short, third. I mean, were they really that distraught over the throwing that they would lose that speed in that offense and really, take a chance at losing this kid?
Well, we saw what happened last night. I mean, they pulled him after 5 innings. When's the last time you saw someone get replaced defensively after 5 innings? When I saw that, I was in the studio with Bob Lorenz, and we both looked at each other, and I thought, wow, that is sending a message to this kid that we don't rely on you to get us through another inning or 2 before we can get somebody else in there for you. But the numbers you mentioned, you look at those numbers and you say, well, maybe they're not awful. I would say look, too, at the total chances, because, for instance, this year I think he had 4 errors on 58 total chances. I mean, a major league player, I don't have to tell you guys this, you can't make an error every 15 times the ball comes your way.
Grounded to first. Nice play there on the good hop by Teixeira. 2 away. Well, this is a tale of 2 cities, really, last night. The first inning error, then the throwing error in the second inning. But then offensively, he can still do some things. He stole 2 bases, scored a run as well. And again, you get the good, you get the bad, and another base hit. He's got a live bat. They always like that about him, but they've got to find a place for him to play. And utility infielder has to be a defensive presence on a team, and they were getting very jittery every time the ball was hit to him. He made a big error in the second game of the year when Jeter was the DH and they put him in short. So it's an interesting call by the Yankees. It's a little bit of a gamble too, because he is a commodity in their organization.
And going back to one of your points earlier, Michael, they have Chavez to fill in and give A-Rod some DH time or a day off. You now look at that shortstop second base combination, and they'd like to give Jeter a day, whether it's as a DH or a full day off. Jason Nix, as a career, is a 205 hitter, and he is a guy who I'm sure he would admit it himself. You look at his career numbers, he's been a end of the roster kind of guy. And Eduardo Nunez is a guy who you think that this guy could have a serious major league career. You would think that having him here filling in at those spots, you're going to be better off than with Nix.
Jaso takes outside, so the count 2-1.
Michael, wasn't that the rumor that Cliff Lee, Nunez was the guy that, that could have made that deal happen, right?
Yeah, they did not want to include him in that deal. The 2-1. That one is lined into center field. Right there is Granderson, and a 1-2-3 inning for Kuroda against Seattle. Jack Curry has plenty more, and so do we, as the heart of the Yankee order is going to come up against King Felix, starting with A-Rod. Hall of Fame players spent time with the Mariners and the Yankees during their careers. Who are those players? We'll find that out shortly as we move to the bottom of the fourth. So 1-1 game. Alex Rodriguez will lead off. And he played for the Mariners, started his career as a 19-year-old. And he skies one the other way. Jack Curry still with us. David Cohn and Michael Kay here on Yankees baseball. We didn't talk about Gardner. Everybody thought Gardner would be back by now, but now we find out he might not be back for another 3 weeks.
Right, Michael, in that second rehab game, after he left the game, his elbow was swollen and he wondered what was going on. They sent him for another MRI. The bone bruise, which was the initial problem with the elbow, has now healed, but now he has a strained muscle. And Brett talked about that in the first base dugout today, and you could tell he was frustrated, but he was also very honest in saying, I can't play the way that my elbow feels right now.
Base hit up the middle for A-Rod.
He said, I have to get this right. He said, I'm not going to do anything for 10 days in terms of picking up a bat. He's going to try and keep his legs as active as possible and do some throwing with his left arm. But he said that the elbow bothers him the most when he swings and misses, which makes sense because of the extension. You make contact, you're not going to go as far as you would if you swing and miss. And he said swings and misses were where he knew that something was wrong.
What an incentive to make contact, though. Here's a guy making plenty of contact lately, Cano, with 3 hits yesterday and an RBI single in the first today. 1-1 game, bottom of the fourth inning. Rodriguez leads off first.
But one bit of encouraging news, Michael. When these things linger, you start to fear the worst. And it was supposed to be a 15-day thing. Now Girardi said another 15 to 25 days. One thing Gardner said was, I know my body, this will not be a season-long thing. We need to get this straight, and then I'll be back.
Grounded, through for a base hit. So Cano with a single. He's 2 for 2. And the Yankees have runners on first and second and nobody out.
Robbie Cano, when you're getting hot, even though you're out in front and you roll over it, now these balls are starting to find holes for Cano, whereas before that ball was at the second baseman. So good signs for Cano, seeing the ball better, getting better swings, and getting some luck going.
It's tough to get anything going against King Felix. I know, Jack, you spoke to Jason Nixon, we spoke about earlier, and he was actually 3 for 3 in the game of April of last year against Felix. So what's the scouting report?
Well, he laughed when I said, you must have the scouting report on King Felix. He said, yes, I remember every at-bat. He had 3 hits that day. It was 2 singles and a double. 2 of them came off fastballs. 1 came off curveballs. And the one thing he talked about was, if you see that pitch, get it, because it might be the only pitch you see in that at-bat, and it might be the only pitch you see in the game. So that was kind of the approach that he took.
The 0-1 to Teixeira. 0-2 Teixeira with a little squibber. Third base side, picked up a hit in the second inning. That one is served into left field. Alex Rodriguez takes off. He's going to score, or at least he's going to try. Here's the throw. Here's the play. He's out. Alex never hesitated, never thought the ball was going to be caught, but he still gets gunned down by Carp for the first out.
Well, I wasn't so sure, Michael, from up here. I'm thinking you better make sure this ball doesn't get caught. It doesn't, but what a nice throw. Right through the cutoff man, 1 hop. Perfect, gives Montero plenty of chance to set up. You see Alex just head down going. Took it, but did a little hesitation there. That probably cost him.
David, did that little hesitation make any sense? Let's see if he actually got in. I think he got the knee. But if you're already at third base, why turn there? You're going to get doubled up if the play is made anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a second guess right there. You need to pick up your third base coach and trust him right there. And it looked like Alex got caught in between right there and tried to get his own read with a look over the shoulder.
Nick Swisher takes outside.
It almost seemed, Michael, like he went 1 for 2 there. Great read off the bat. Then when you get to third base, as you guys are saying, no need to turn around there. Pick up Thompson. And that little flinch right there probably cost him.
Take another look.
This is going to be the difference maker between the bases loaded and nobody out. Now first and second and 1 out. And of course, Rob Thompson's bringing him on. Thompson was halfway down the line with a windmill. Send him and go. I think you get kind of desperate against Felix Hernandez to take any chance you can to score a run.
Count 3-1.
I thought the Yankees really missed Nick Swisher when he was out, even though it was only 6 games. But Swisher, second in the American League, just 4.1 at-bats per RBI. He's getting an RBI every game almost, it seems like, or every 4 at-bats. That's second to Josh Hamilton, who gets an RBI every 3 at-bats so far this year.
Dribbled slowly up the first baseline. Felix off the mound, and he gets the out at first as the runners move up.
It's so hard to stay back on Felix's changeup. You see Swisher reads fastball the whole way and has a full hack off the end of the bat. Felix has had to bounce and make some plays tonight. And full throws as well. I don't know if I'd call him Felix the Cat, but he moves pretty good out there.
So 2 away after Swisher's grounder. And here is Ibanez in a big at bat. 2nd and 3rd, 2 men out. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Game tied at 1. There's a strike. There's a strike count 0-2. He's got a variety of pitches. I think the perception of him is as a power guy, but he's pitching out there.
He is pitching more spotting his fastball now as opposed to 3, 4, 5 years ago. As you see, Russell Martin deep into the book, trying to look for patterns.
Count 1-2.
His off-speed stuff is still categorized as power. A power changeup in the upper 80s, and that curveball, boy, that's got bite and tight spin on it. Even though he's only averaging about 91 miles an hour with his fastball this year, his off-speed pitches haven't lost a thing, and in fact have gotten better as he uses them more. Very interested too, Jeff, to see how Montero worked with Felix Hernandez there. I mean, the question obviously with Montero is he a catcher or DH, or is he going to be, a part-time catcher? To kind of see how he works with one of the best pitchers in the game.
The 1-2. He struck him out. Now Jack's going to stay with us because he actually interviewed Montero and had talked to Sunday starter Andy Pettitte. So stick around for that as the Yankees and the Mariners are tied at 1 after 4. Talks, a lot of it involving Josh Beckett, golfing on an off day, and golf's obviously what you could do on an off day. And I guess Josh's excuse was, I can do anything on my off day, David. Did you do anything you want on your off day? Did the team tell you not to do something?
Well, not when you're missing a start. There's no way, there's just no way that you can get away with that.
He did.
Well, he didn't.
You're right. He got called on.
And he had a bad start. And, I pitched with a guy named Mark Gubaza who claimed that when he played golf the day before he pitched, it helped his arm loosen up a little bit.
There's a base hit past the diving Teixeira for Smoke.
I'm not sure that's the case with Josh Beckett. You know, he had a lat injury, and it just doesn't look good. You know, when you miss a start, and you can't perform what you're paid to do, and then you're out there playing golf. There's just no way that you're going to get away with that, and the Boston fans won't let him get away with it.
And they jumped him when he got knocked out early yesterday. Now, speaking of pitching, on Sunday, we're going to see Andy Pettitte back on the mound, and Jack, you had an opportunity to talk to the 39-year-old, and he must be pretty pumped up.
He's very excited, Michael, as you might imagine. And I guess the one headline out of it, and he has said this before, but he reiterated it again today, is he is coming back on Sunday believing he will be the Andy Pettitte of 2010. And I asked him, well, how do you know that? How do you feel that? He said, I can just tell by the way my pitches feel. I can tell by the way my command is, where everything is landing in the zone.
Let's see if they can turn two. No, they'll only get one.
Andy Pettitte would like to have a few of those on Sunday. He'd like to see them turn into double plays. But he just said the way that everything worked out in the minor leagues, and he knew his numbers weren't great, but he said getting here to Yankee Stadium and actually working off major league mounds, he also thinks that gave him another boost of confidence, because he really feels as if he's going to be the guy he was 19 months ago, the last time he pitched in a major league game.
David, we'll be here in the booth. Do you think he's going to be the same guy?
It's going to take some time. You know, it's a whole different adrenaline rush that you get up here. I'm sure his velocity will pick up a little bit. I think he was probably clocked in the mid-80s down there for most of his rehab starts. He didn't seem to be too worried about his velocity. You know, Andy Pettitte, very much of a pitcher. I think the thing that Pettitte did better at the end of his career, really almost in his last year, was mix his pitches better, as opposed to be sort of a cutter-happy kind of a pitcher. You know, Andy mixing in that changeup and throwing his curveball more, and just mixing his pitches. It's what he did at the end of his career better than any time before.
Now, we also mentioned that you spoke to Jesus Montero, the former Yankee. Was he surprised when he heard about the trade?
He was a little bit surprised, but he also said that once it happened, he had to turn his attention to the Mariners. Being a Yankee was all that he had known since he was a teenager. I think he would have liked to have had an impact here, no doubt, but he said, listen, I'm with the Seattle Mariners now. I have a job here. He also understands that there's probably more opportunity for him with the Mariners than there would have been here with the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees were ready to let him catch. We saw that last year. Austin Romine jumped ahead of him, at least catching wise, on the depth chart. Here with Seattle, he's getting opportunities to catch. He says that's very important to him. And interestingly enough, his offensive splits when he catches are way better than when he DHs.
Runner goes, hit and run executed perfectly as Saunders hits it through the vacated left side. The throw comes into second, so it's first and third for Seattle with one out.
He did say when he was here, though, he was peeking out to right center, that place where he kind of made a little bit of a home for himself last September with that opposite field power. And Michael, you mentioned it earlier, this ballpark, as opposed to Safeco Field, plays to his power.
Jeter was covering on the stolen base attempt, and Saunders just served it the other way. The other part of that deal that went to Seattle, Hector Noesi will start tomorrow. And on the Yankee side, even Brian Cashman has admitted doesn't like a good deal right now. Shoulder surgery for Michael Pineda, and Jose Campos, who's supposed to be a really good prospect and started out great in AAA. He's on the DL with a bad elbow. So right now it doesn't look like a good deal at all. Here's Dustin Ackley. Count 1-0.
The one thing I'd say about, though, Michael, is when you make a deal and all four players are 24 years old or younger, it's hard to then evaluate it 1 month or 2 months in. And yes, absolutely, the Yankees will get nothing out of Pineda this year, and Campos won't contribute at the major league level for a couple of more years. But I think if you're the Yankees, you say you have to be patient, and let's see what Pineda gives us a few years down the line.
Runner goes. The throw to second. Not in time as Jeter stepped forward in case the runner at third tried to take off. So a stolen base for Saunders.
I think part of the reason why the Yankees were comfortable trading Montero is their faith in Russell Martin and the kind of year he had last year, the way he catches defensively. Not much of a shot there. As we said before, Kuroda not exceptionally quick to home and fairly easy to steal off of.
Now the Yankees have the infield back, so they'll give up the run and give Seattle the lead with a ground ball. What they want to stay away from is bringing the infield in, have a ball squeeze through, and then it's 3-1 against Felix Hernandez. First base is open, and Brendan Ryan is on deck. Strike, clip the outside corner, 3-1. One game, top of the fifth.
Kuroda he doesn't seem to be, into a rhythm yet, and Martin recognizes it, going to go out and talk to him. I mean, this is, even though you have a base open here, it's not what you want to do with Ichiro on deck. I'm sorry, Ryan on deck, and then Ichiro following him, but you got the top of the order here with the Mariners. You got 1 out, 3-1 count, just threw a 3-0 slider.
3-1, and now he walks him, so that loads the bases. And here is Brendan Ryan.
There's not a lot of conviction on those pitches, A 3-0 slider, 3-1 slider. Maybe he did want this matchup here. Obviously, with my mistake. Ryan on deck here, right-handed batter.
You've got Karp at third, Saunders at second, and Ackley over at first. Pitch outside.
One thing Ryan will do is work on at bat. He sees a lot of pitches per at bat. 8th in the American League, 4.23 pitches.
Breaking ball for a strike, count 1-1.
Which is probably why he's still in the 2-hole, despite only hitting 157. See Chris Chambliss there, trying to change the culture of this Mariners lineup. Trying to get some guys to grind out some at bats more, see more pitches. Not a high on base percentage team, and not a team that likes to walk a lot.
One, 1-2.
Ryan knows he did Kuroda a big favor right there. Big difference, 1-2 to 2-1.
Kuroda really slows down his pace when there are runners on base. Make sure of every pitch. The 1-2. He struck him out. So that's going to bring up Ichiro. So you got Ryan, but as you mentioned, David, you got this guy lurking now. Unless you had Ryan hit into a double play, he struck out. You've got to deal with one of the best hitters you'll ever see.
A couple of good sliders off the plate. Ryan reads fastball and swings through both of them, but you're right. Now you got Ichiro, but the same pitch back to back, really, and you could see, he missed that by 1.5 feet.
73 pitches, that's how it breaks down. Pretty consistent. But he's got to deal with Ichiro right here with the bases loaded, game tied at 1. Ichiro, long a leadoff hitter, but the number 3 batter in the lineup. Has 13 ribbies. He's 0 for 2 tonight. And a strike. Look at the numbers with the bases loaded, a .410 hitter. Our colleague Ken Singleton always points out that the really good hitters realize that the pitcher is also in trouble. He's got pressure as well. It's not the hitter that has the pressure when the bases are loaded.
One thing that Ichiro is going to be difficult to get him to do is strike out. The toughest guy in the American League to get to swing and miss, especially on third strikes.
One. Dribble to third. Right there is A-Rod. Steps on the bag, and Kuroda works out of trouble. We thank Jack Curry. We'll hear from him more on the postgame. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Chavez will lead off against King Felix. Hall of Famer spent time with the Mariners and the Yankees during their careers. Who are they? We'll find out the answer in a moment. Eric Chavez takes a strike. Gaylord Perry, Goose Gossage, and Ricky Henderson. There'll be another one there as well, Randy Johnson, when he makes it to the Hall. And Alex Rodriguez. Although all the guys that played in that era and Alex's revelation about what happened in Texas with PDAs, we'll see how the voters judge that. But his numbers will be Hall of Fame numbers. I said PDAs and I meant PDDs. PDAs are public displays. That's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Now I was thinking, David, when we were talking about Andy Pettitte starting on Sunday, and I know how much you loved pitching. I mean, you really just, I could see, even when you talk about it, you loved it. Are you a little jealous that he's going to be out there on Sunday?
I must admit, I'm jealous on two counts. One, that he's left-handed. I was always jealous of that pickoff move that he had. He's one of the best I've ever seen. I saw Andy in spring training. You could just see the bounce in the step, that he really missed the game. He was really into coming back, and he's so anxious to get up here.
Russell Martin hits one to center field. It's deep, backing up Saunders. He makes the play on the warning track for the second out. All right, that's Sunday. Now let's look at tomorrow's starting pitchers, brought to you by Verizon Fios. Welcome to America's fastest, most consistent, most reliable internet. Welcome to Life on Fios. Another former Yankee, Hector Noesi, 2-3, 6.30. Phil Hughes, 2-4, 6.67. And make note of the time, 3:30 start with the pregame show. And right around 4:08 will be the time that Phil Hughes throws the first pitch of the game. So a 4 o'clock start for the game. 3:30 for a pregame.
Phil Hughes was excellent in Kansas City. Really threw the ball well. Seemed to get stronger as the game went along. Trying to build on that.
There's Derek Jeter. He's 0 for 2. Count 1-1.
See, Felix Hernandez hides the ball so well, even though, you know, that fastball's right where Jeter likes it at 90 miles an hour, sort of the wheel and deal. The way he drops that arm straight down behind his body. Hitters just do not pick it up until it almost is right in the slot of the release point. Watch him almost turn his back to the hitter. A lot of pitching coaches frown on that. You know, we saw A.J. Burnett kind of have trouble with that sort of emotion, but you see the wheel and deal, almost turning his back.
You did that at times.
I did that at times, and you know, Felix Hernandez can hold it in there. You know, sometimes the pitching coaches will say that sort of emotion will trigger a reaction that will cause you to fly open. Not Felix Hernandez. He holds it in there. And to me, it creates a lot of deception for him. Not only in terms of hiding the ball, but also the timing of the hitter.
Growing up, we both watched the guy do it. Louis Tiant was famous for it and would hold it for a while. You could really read the number on his back.
Louis Tiant, one of my favorite pitchers to watch as a child growing up. All the movements that he had and the twitches and different arm angles. Felix Hernandez, pretty much the same arm slot. He just got that wheeling, dealing pitching motion, especially from the windup, that gives him that unique appeal and that deception. There's a lot of talk about Michael Pineda copying Felix Hernandez's style, and Larry Rothschild, the Yankees pitching coach, was trying to sort of break him of that habit, thinking that maybe that caused a little bit of his arm problems. But Pineda definitely, after pitching with Felix Hernandez last year, had a very similar style. If you watch his leg kick, he almost kicks it behind him.
Jeter really battling.
Jeter, excellent at this. I mean, so good his whole career, fouling off pitches, spoiling pitches. 33% rate of foul strikes this year for Jeter, which is second in the AL to Josh Reddick in Oakland. Of all the strikes that Jeter sees, 33% of them are fouled off. So tough to put away. A lot of people talk about Jeter's year this year. It really goes back to the second half of last year.
3-2. Some battle. Next pitch will be the 10th of the at-bat. He's thrown 14 pitches this inning, 9 to Jeter.
5 fastballs, 4 changeups.
And Jeter wins the battle. Works a walk. Follow the Yankees with the MLB.com at-bat 12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text at-bat to 31826 or visit Yankees.com for details. Here's Curtis Granderson. He has scored the Yankees' only run, single, stole second, and scored on Cano's single in the first inning. There's a strike. Since the 2011 season began, he has 52 home runs, most of the majors. Matt Kemp with 51. And I spoke to Vince Scully yesterday, longtime voice of the Dodgers. He said if Kemp continues to progress the way he seems to be, he'll be the best player that he's ever seen. And look at the players that Vince Scully's seen: Jackie Robinson and Roy Campanella and all the other greats that have worn the Dodger uniform. That's how good Kemp is. Granderson has out-homered him since 2011.
You know, Matt Kemp, a legitimate Triple Crown threat. I think clearly in the American and the National League, you have two players that stand head and shoulders above the rest. In the American League, it's Josh Hamilton. And obviously Matt Kemp in the National League.
Line drive and a foul ball. We have not had a Triple Crown winner in baseball since 1967. And Carl Yastrzemski did it.
And, both guys play significant defensive positions, too, and play well on that side of the ball. So it's not just all offense with Kemp and Hamilton. And that graphic says a lot for Granderson as well, to be right up there with Kemper. One more home run.
Count 1-2.
With what's come with Granderson's confidence too, growing, as you see, as Michael said, the last Triple Crown winners affirmed, ridden by Steve Coffin.
Remember the second place horse in all three races? Alidar. Neck and neck each single race. And Ducky Medwick was the last guy in the National League, so it's not an easy thing to do, to hit for average power and drive in those runs. Sometimes you get 2 out of 3, but all 3, very, very, very special play. Strike 3, Granderson down looking. He thought that was a bit outside. No runs, no hits, no errors. One man left on base. We go to the 6th inning. Montero will lead off against Kuroda. One game, Jesus Montero steps in, and let's check out the Home Depot hitter scouting report.
Well, it is homecoming night. Yankee fans will remember last September he hit 328 and 61 at-bats with 4 homers, and what a September he had. Made the playoff roster, and rookie cleanup hitter. Not too many rookies getting the cleanup spot, and the Elias Bureau had an interesting graphic on that I'll get to in a minute. And catcher or DH? What's he going to be? A little bit of both? In 12 games as a catcher this year, he's hitting 386 with 3 home runs. As a DH in 18 games, he's just hitting 191 with 1 home run, so maybe he should be a catcher. His catcher's ERA is 3.33 coming into tonight. With Felix Hernandez, that's going to go down. I mentioned that Elias note. You can see, since the era of the DH, these are the only rookies that batted cleanup for over half of the season. Pretty good list. Fred Lynn in 75, Kemp, Herbeck, Incaviglia, and of course Mark McGwire in 1987.
I wonder if Montero is going to have to change his hitting style because he's playing half his games at Safeco, which is an enormous ballpark. You know, the 4 home runs he hit for the Yankees, it seemed like he was ready-made his swing because he does hit to the right side, and they reach the seats here at the stadium. Those could be outs at Safeco Field. That's something that's worth watching as he progresses. That one is driven out to right field and deep. Going back, Swisher, see ya! A home run the other way, and Montero has given the Mariners a 2-1 lead.
We saw it last September with Montero, and you see the slider down and away. He's thinking that way the whole time. We watched him in batting practice. He was launching him up into that first deck. Sometimes he's got so much power the other way. He looks like a left-handed hitter pulling the ball. See him making fun of his own swing. He almost just chopped at it, and the ball flew out of here.
Foul bat. Let's take a look at the Coors Light cold hard blast off the bat of Montero. Didn't exactly crush it, but gets out. We talk about the uncertainty with Montero catching, and the Yankees did certainly have some uncertainty whether or not he could catch, and they did envision him as a DH, but what they wanted to do with the DH, because they know they've got aging players on long-term deals, they would have to use that DH spot to keep them healthy and keep them in the lineup, and there's a fly ball to left. So they didn't see how Montero fit, and I think they were just waiting for the right deal to use that chip, and that chip was Montero, because they didn't want a 24-year-old as the everyday DH. We've got Alex Rodriguez, who's going to be 37 this year. Derek Jeter is going to be 38. Mark Teixeira is getting older as well. Those guys are going to have to DH a lot to stay in the lineup.
You know, all those things are absolutely true, and the Yankees happen to be stockpiled in their minor leagues with catching prospects all the way down to low A ball with Gary Sanchez as well, and others that we haven't mentioned yet.
Jaso couldn't hold up.
The Yankees just felt like, as you said it, Michael, that they really like Russell Martin. They have a lot of backups, including Austin Romine, who, even though he's injured now, they have other catching prospects. And you had a 23-year-old pitcher named Michael Pineda that could throw the ball 98 miles an hour when he's healthy. I think most people in baseball, when the trade was first made, thought the Yankees are the ones who fleeced the Mariners. You know, how could you give up a 23-year-old who's got that kind of an arm?
Swing and a miss. Brian Cashman has not flinched at all from the criticism. I give the Yankee GM a certain amount of credit for that. A lot of people said, well, Zarecznik gave the Yankees, and that's Jack Zarecznik, who was the GM of the Mariners, gave them damaged goods. He goes, no, it's on me. We right at this point with the injuries to Campos, and when at the time he said it, it was just Pineda. He said, it's us. Don't blame them. It's us. And he's taking total money. He said, right now, it does not look like a good deal. But you do have to evaluate deals over a long period of time. Ground ball up the middle and through for base hit for Justin Smoak. And the Mariners are getting that second guessing in the Smoak deal. Smoak came over from Texas for Cliff Lee, and he has not lived up to his high promise, and they're staying with him because they need him to make that deal like it was a good one.
You see Kuroda there. We did say that the Rangers hockey team's got a game tomorrow night, and he tried a little kick save there like a goalie would do, and a little late.
Smoak today is 2 for 3. Came into the game 2 for his last 20. So 2 hits tonight. Now that Cliff Lee deal that the Mariners made, it looked like it was going to be the New York Yankees that were going to get Cliff Lee. And they thought they had the structure of a deal, and then the Rangers came in and said, okay, we'll give you our best prospect, Justin Smoak. And they broke off the talks with the Yankees, and they made the deal. And that might have gotten the Rangers to the World Series that year. The team that pulled off that deal probably would have been the American League team in the World Series. It would have meant 2 World Series in a row for the Yanks.
Yeah, Cliff Lee is that good, and certainly was that good when the trade was made. And
count 2-1.
you know, we noted in the opening, our scouting report for Kuroda tonight is a trouble against left-handed batters. And we see there he tried another splitter there that just kind of is flat and staying up. And it's really his signature pitch is that good hard splitter. And both his walks are up this year and his strikeouts are down. I think it's because of that pitch, in particular to left-handed batters.
Grounded sharply to second. Right there is Cano, and that will do it. But Seattle takes the lead. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. The former Yankee Jesus Montero hits a fly ball the other way, and it gets out in a hurry. And when it lands, it's 2-1 Seattle. And here is Alex Rodriguez. Fouls it off. In the short time that Montero was here at the end of last year, Alex Rodriguez really used to get in his face and say, you're a rookie and you're not taking extra BP and you're not getting here early, and really read him the riot act to change his work habits or increase his work habits.
Alex, legendary for his workout programs, Michael. You're right. And even in the offseason, he's inviting players from other teams to come to Miami and work out with him.
Count 3-1. Works a leadoff walk here in the 6th. So the tying run on base.
Dreaded leadoff walk brings Cano up, who's been swinging a hot bat. A couple hits tonight. See his average all the way up to 297. Well, Michael, the thing about Cano coming into this game, he's seen 96 base runners. Which is second in the American League. Michael Young of Texas has 100 base runners seen. He's got one on first here. Only 8 of them have scored. Just 8%.
Another base hit for Cano. 3 hits last night, 3 hits tonight.
It just shows you how the opportunities that were there for Cano earlier in the year, and now he's getting hot. And the Yankees need him because he's the guy in that lineup that sees the most base runners. Early in the count, Felix Hernandez after the walk wants to get ahead. Robbie's ready. Robbie's always ready early in the count. Good first pitch fastball hitter. Once again, Felix Hernandez pounds the glove, and the Yankees got something working. First and second, nobody out.
Reason to smile. Hasn't had that until this week. Here's Mark Teixeira. He has not had a reason to smile either, but 2 singles tonight. Same situation as he had in the 4th inning. Single to left field, and Alex Rodriguez incredibly got gunned down at the plate when he got a great read on the looper in the left field. Seven hits for the Yankees against Hernandez. Grounded to first. Smoke fires the second one on to first, and Hernandez cannot handle it, and A-Rod stays at third. Smoke has no fear about throwing that ball to second base.
Felix Hernandez gets over there in a hurry, but Teixeira runs well, gets down the line. One of the toughest double plays to turn is when the pitcher has to cover first base.
All right, here's Nick Swisher. First and third with 1 out. Foul away.
I brought up that point, Michael, with Robinson Cano, and all the base runners that he's seen. Swisher here with a couple of base runners on this year so far. Swisher's seen 88 base runners, and he's gotten 17 of them home with his bat. Not necessarily an RBI credited, but getting these runners home. It's 19%.
1-1.
The leader of the league is obviously Josh Hamilton. He's had 84 base runners, and 24 of them have scored, and that's 29%. So contrast that to Robinson Cano. And as Robbie starts to get hot, you're going to see some RBIs come aboard because he sees a lot of base runners, a lot of opportunity, and Nick Swisher obviously right here with a big opportunity.
One and two.
Battle between the pitcher who wants to get the ground ball and the hitter who wants to get the lift and get the ball in the air. See who wins. Hernandez probably going to off speed here. He's got that great changeup down.
Strike 3. Swisher doesn't even put the ball in play, so he is down looking, and let's check out how they went at him with the Mazda pitch by pitch, David.
Well, we'll get a look. Swisher's got a good eye, but you can see that's the best pitch to hit. The first pitch fastball right there, pushes him off, down and away, good pitch, and then comes inside and gets the call. Montero with a good frame. Borderline fastball in. You see the movement on the glove. Montero brings it back just a hair. Swisher doesn't think so. He's got a good eye. Hernandez is King Felix. He gets the call.
Raul Ibanez hits a deep fly ball to right field. Going back, Ichiro turning, looking. See ya! A big 3-run home run for Ibanez. And the Yankees take the lead 4-2.
Good scouting report by the Yankees. First pitch fastball once again right there. Hernandez has thrown him down the middle the whole inning. On the year, Hernandez 66% first pitch strikes. The Yankees know that. They've been swinging a lot at that first one, and that's been the best one to hit so far.
Chavez breaks his back, ground ball up the middle. Ackley fields, fires to first, not in time. Chavez beats it out. David, that was a big home run.
It was a big home run by a very smart hitter who's sitting first pitch fastball, who's been watching the game, who knows the pitcher's tendencies. The best pitch sometimes you're going to get is that first one. You can say all you want about on-base percentage, about taking pitches. Don't take that one. The fan will take that one. Maybe not.
Pitch to Martin is low. So King Felix, who came into this game with a 1.89 ERA, has given up 4 runs here in 5 2/3. And also in 3 previous starts in this ballpark, 3-0, 0.38. So when you score 4 runs against this guy, it's an outburst. One and two. So Kuroda, who has not had great run support this year, he's seen his team pick him up twice. Mariners scored a run in the first. Yankees came back with 1 in the bottom of the inning. Seattle scored a run in the 6th, and the Yankees have come back with 3 in the bottom of the inning. Line down the left field line. Foul ball. Last couple of years, 3-0 in 2010 against the Yankees. 0.35 last year. They had more success, scoring almost 5 runs a game and beating him once in 2 decisions. Popped up and out of play behind the plate. Grounded foul.
See, the Yankees not only have touched up Felix for 3 runs here, but they got his pitch count pushed up to 94.
This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
All this started with the dreaded leadoff walk. Alex Rodriguez with a good at bat, and Cano followed that up with a first pitch hit.
Runner goes, and Martin swings and misses, and that'll do it. But the damage has been done with 2 outs. Raul Ibanez stepped to the plate, jumped on the first pitch that he saw, and hit it into the first row in right field. A 3-run home run after 6. Yankees up by 2. Again, the question was, which of the 4 most recent AL Cy Young Award winners would you least like to face? You've been texting us at 42951, and here's how you voted. 51% want no part of Verlander. 34% Hernandez, 12% Lee, and 3% say Zach Greinke. So 97% say bring on Greinke, just not in Milwaukee.
Greinke might have the best stuff of all of them right now. Verlander obviously with the power stuff, but Greinke really got good stuff too. Good hard sliders.
Saw Raul Ibanez there with his 3-run home run to give the Yankees the lead as we go to the 7th inning. On the Cadillac scoreboard, 4-2 Yankees over Seattle, and Michael Saunders starts it off. They'd like to get Kuroda through the 7th, and then now it becomes an interesting guessing game how the final innings are going to play out of the bullpen. This is Clay Rapata and Corey Wade.
Girardi showing a lot of confidence in Kuroda here into the 7th with 95 pitches. And we talked about the lefty trouble that Kuroda's had this year. 5 of the 6 hits tonight have been against left-handed batters. He's got 2 of them here leading off the 7th. You see Rapata should be ready to go.
Count 3-1.
For his career, there's no rhyme or reason to it. For Kuroda's career, he has a 259 career batting average versus left-handed batters and 241 versus right-handed batters. But for some reason this year, Michael, 375 batting average against left-handed batters coming into tonight, and 5 out of the 6 hits are against lefties.
And he ends up walking the lefty Michael Saunders to start off the 7th. Not a good way to start an inning, as Felix Hernandez found out in the bottom of the 6th. Eric Wedge, manager of the Seattle Mariners, formerly with the Cleveland Indians.
I think Kuroda has done fairly well this year. He leads the Yankees in double plays. He's got 6 of them, 6 ground ball double plays.
Runner goes. The throw to second. Got him. Good catch and tag by Jeter. Boy, they just helped out Kuroda.
You see, this is all on Russell Martin. Kuroda slow to home, but he just throws a bullet right on top of the ground, which is where it had to be for Jeter to get it and make the tag. That's all Russell Martin there.
1-0 to Ackley. Right back to Kuroda. He knocks it down, and there are 2 outs. Here's Brendan Ryan, who is 0 for 3. .102 pitches for Kuroda. And the count 3-0. Ichiro lurks on deck.
Russell Martin sort of reassuring Kuroda. Come back and get this guy. You do not want to see Ichiro come up in this inning if possible.
Fairly economical outing for Kuroda, 103. And only 10 pitches here in the 7th. Here's number 11. Lays it in there for a strike. He averages 95 pitches per start, as high as 109. Grounded to A-Rod. And that will do it. So 1-2-3 inning after the caught stealing for Hiroki Kuroda. At the end of 6.5 at the stadium, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. Yankees are leading 4-2, but we'll stay right here and listen to a rendition of God Bless America.
Please rise and offer a moment of silent prayer as we remember the servicemen and women who are serving our country at home and around the globe. Thank you. Now join in Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America.
To the ocean
tough catcher. Good player, too, and part of that Oriole resurgence early. Time now for the game summary tonight right here at the stadium, brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. 4-9-0 Yanks, 2-6-0 for Seattle. Ibanez 3-run home run right now, the difference in the game. Ackley and Montero each have a solo home run. Kuroda has gone 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 strikeouts. He's thrown 105 pitches through 7 innings of play. Felix Hernandez still on the mound, and he will deal with the top of the Yankee order: Jeter, Granderson, and A-Rod. Derek is 0 for 2 and walked. Base hit up the middle, and he made Felix Hernandez look like Charlie Brown. Knocked him right down to the mound.
Well, once again, right down the middle with a first pitch fastball. I hate to use the cliche, but that is chuck and duck. There's almost no time to react. That was a bullet. The best thing sometimes a pitcher can do is get lucky and get out of the way.
Cadillac scoreboard 4-2, Yankees lead. Here's Curtis Granderson. Count 1-0. David, they're not afraid to have Hernandez throw pitches in a game against Cleveland on April 19th. Just his 3rd game of the year, he threw 126 pitches. That's an awful lot.
Been a workhorse from day one, really, and when he was 19.
Oh, what a pick by Smoke. Let's see if they turn 2. They do. A 3-6-3 double play. Smoke can really pick it at first base.
Quick reaction, the throw, and then get back to the bag. Ball in the glove.
Ooh.
Toe on the bag. Definitely closer than it looked.
That's going to bring up A-Rod. 1 for 2 with a walk. And now he's 2 for 3 with a walk. That one's hit into the gap, cut off there by Karp. And A-Rod will stop with a single.
It's a good scouting report by the Yankees coming in. Another first pitch swing, another first pitch hit. A hanging slider right there. I mentioned before, Felix Hernandez throws about 66% first pitch strikes, which is a lot. And the Yankees know it. It's probably going to be it for Felix.
Eric Wedge will take the ball, so unless the Mariners rally, Hernandez will suffer his first new Yankee Stadium loss, but we still have a long way to go. truck of the New York Yankees. Eric Wedge makes the call to the bullpen, brought to you by AT&T. And he brings on the left-hander Charlie Furbush. This will be his 11th game. 12 strikeouts in 10 innings, and he's in to face Robinson Cano. And he replaces Felix Hernandez, who lasted 6 2/3, 11 hits, 4 runs. A-Rod at first is his responsibility. 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, 101 pitches.
13 base runners off of King Felix tonight by the Yankee lineup.
Cano 3 for 3. There's a strike. He has the average over 300. 302. They have 2 lefties in the bullpen, Charlie Furbush and Lucas Litke. 1-1. Cano now has a 9-game hitting streak. Last 5 games hitting .579. 2 homers and 8 ribbies.
8 of his 12 RBIs on the year.
And another base hit for Cano. That's going to go to the wall. Alex Rodriguez chugs around second. He'll go to third. He's going to stop right there. Cano 4 for 4. Picks up a double. Boy, when Cano's hot, pretty nice to watch.
Righties, lefties, no matter. Any kind of pitch, very aggressive, and a slider right there. Furbush is lucky that he didn't get any lift on that. Perfect balance. Recognizes the slider, gets the bat head out in front. Easy double in the corner.
Steve Delabar warming. The 0-1. Checks his swing. And the count 2-1. The 2-1. 2-2.
Yankees hoping that Teixeira can join Robbie and get hot. It's been Cano and Teixeira who have seen the most opportunities to drive in runs. Still waiting for Teixeira to jump on board. Kevin Long, the hitting coach. Yankee offense been pretty good so far this year, but a lot more to give, especially from Cano and Teixeira.
Jumps up and hits Teixeira. Still 2-2.
Teixeira coming into this game has seen 93 base runners. 13 of them have scored. It's a 14% clip. Both he and Cano. A lot of opportunities. 2 more here. Teixeira's approach much different, batting right-handed than left. More more likely to go the other way. Hits the ball more to all fields batting right-handed as opposed to left, where he's basically dead pull.
Two balls, two strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Grounds it to the shortstop, Ryan. And he makes the play for the final out of the 7th. No runs, 3 hits, and 2 men left. We go to the 8th. It'll be Ichiro, Montero, and Seager. On the Yankees.com, visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. While the Yankees work the bullpen now, they will bring on Clay Rapata to face Ichiro Suzuki. This will be the 15th game for Rapata. The Yankees will try to piece together this 8th inning, because Soriano's already pitched 3 days in a row, so you assume that Robertson will pitch the 9th, and they don't have that one guy that would pitch the 8th. Weak hack there by Ichiro on the count 0-2. Hyundai scoreboard 4-2. Yankees lead. We're in the 8th. First game of a 3-game set. Right back to Rapata. So he does his job and gets Ichiro. And that's his job, as Joe Girardi will go to the bullpen to bring in Wade to face Montero. So Corey Wade jogs in. Yankees lead 4-2. Wade against Montero, and we get back right here on Yes. 2951, or you vote online at yesnetwork.com. Tonight's candidates are Raul Ibanez, Hiroki Kuroda, Robinson Cano, or Jesus Montero. Vote now, make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply. So Corey Wade comes on. He's done very well for the Yankees. This will be his 13th game. Cute moment as Wade was jogging in. Montero went to the dugout, his dugout, and he asked Chris Chambliss, what does Corey Wade throw? He was here in September. I think he caught Wade. He should have known, but maybe he thought Wade's game changed. When Montero spoke with Jack Curry before the game, he said, I really can't wait to play tonight. He kind of looked out at right field. He said, I've been thinking about right field, and then said, it's real close. And he hit a home run to right field in the 6th inning.
He hit a bunch of them in batting practice, too. See Corey Wade and Phelps back to the bullpen, and Boone Logan. See Mike Harkey, bullpen coach. Corey Wade, 16 strikeouts with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. Does it like that with a variety of pitches and arm angles and a great changeup. Been a real find for the Yankees last year and into this year. Just outstanding numbers. His role obviously moved up a notch with Mariano Rivera's injury.
Nice play by Cano. Took a base hit away from Montero for the second out.
Montero obviously thinking right field the whole at bat. But Cano had other ideas.
And Joe Girardi mixing and matching. Rapata, Wade. And now he goes to the bullpen one more time to bring in Boone Logan to face Kyle Seager. Stick around. Post-game as Bob Lorenz reviews the big plays from tonight's game and gets the latest scores from around baseball. Plus, Jack Curry is here. He's going to work the clubhouse. You'll also hear from Joe Girardi in the manager's report. It's the W.B. Mason post-game, and it's only on Yes.
You see Boone Logan, and at this rate, you'd have to use 27 pitchers to get 27 outs. Yankees only are trying to get through the 8th inning here, and they're going to use 3 pitchers to try to do it. And Boone Logan, another one of the Yankee relievers that has strikeout numbers and an excellent ERA, and really the savior of this pitching staff. Not only Boone Logan, but the entire bullpen has really been the one mainstay for the Yankees that has been consistent all year.
Turns away from that pitch and it drops in for a strike. 0-1. Seager tonight is 1 for 3. Oh, 2.
I think Seager's been their best hitter so far this year. Certainly most productive. In the month of May, leads the AL with 13 RBIs, tied with Hamilton in Texas, and the resurfaced Brandon Inge in Oakland.
Swing and a miss. That's impressive. Logan came on and got him on 3 breaking balls. So 3 Yankee pitchers retire the side in order, 1 apiece. And Nick Swisher will start off the bottom of the 8th inning. Coverage will start at 3:30. Note that start time with the Tri-State Ford pregame. Then David Cohn and I are back for all the action, and only on Yes, of course. Crowd of 37,226 watching the Yankees lead the Mariners 4-2 bottom of the 8th on the Hyundai scoreboard. And Nick Swisher leads off the bottom of the inning against Furbush.
Say, Michael, you got to have a scouting report for all the guys you got to work with up here in the booth, don't you? You just had Leiter, you've had O'Neill. You got to have a whole playbook just for the personalities of all the guys you got to sit next to.
You're all easy. Base hit to center field by Swisher. You're all just pleasant to be around. It's not easy. It's not hard. Well, one guy's not pleasant, but we won't point him out. I'll let him guess who he is. Here's Ibanez, the big hit. And he had a plan when he came up in that inning, David. He really did, and he executed the plan beautifully.
Really did. You know, with somebody like Felix Hernandez, your best pitch might be the first one, and he was ready for it. A different approach now with the lefty Furbush. You know, you can start him off with a nasty slider. Ibanez, very intelligent hitter and a hard worker. One of the hardest workers and most extra BP taken players I've ever seen. was legendary throughout his career, both in Seattle and Philly, for after the games, going down to the batting cage 2 and 3 hours after ball games. You'd hear the smash of the bat. And who's that? Oh, that's Raul after the game working. Talked to Sammy Perlazo, the Philadelphia coach. Talked a lot about Raul Ibanez and his work habits. Never satisfied. Legendary for his work. Just a batting cage rat. Can't get enough. Probably why he's still in the game and still productive. Had a very nice career.
And another example of why you can't totally buy into spring training statistics, because he seemed lost down in Tampa. He wondered if he'd ever get a hit. He picked it up a little bit toward the end, but still his overall numbers were dreadful. And he had that big game right out of the chute in St. Pete.
Ibanez, 6 home runs and 19 RBIs on the year, and in the month of May, 8 for 23 with a 348 average and a couple of dingers.
Grounded to Smoke. He thought about going to second, but he'll take the out at first. So Swisher advances into scoring position. And with Chavez due up, Joe Girardi is going to go to the bench. And he's going to send up Andrew Jones.
Ibanez walking by there. I know you did the little thing with Neiman, the pitcher from Tampa Bay, who looked like Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
It's a little shot of Ibanez going by there. A little young Yul Brenner, maybe?
I can see it, sure. Well, the managers are matching wits, so Joe sends up the right-hander, and Eric Wedge is going to bring in the right-hander. Stick around. Stadium. I think he was 0 for 29 and picked up his first hit, and he has not looked back. Been pitching a lot better. There's Steve Delabar. This will be his 17th game. 20 strikeouts in 16 innings. Only 2 walks. The reason you make this change, Jones hits, you would think, better against lefties, but not this year. He's hitting .313 against righties and .182 against lefties.
backwards from his normal numbers.
It's hard for a guy, I would think, that was a regular player every day for so many years to now get truncated playing time and stay sharp. Remember, Joe Torre told me the best that he's ever seen do that was the guy who's the hitting coach for the Mariners, Chris Chambliss, who became a pinch hitter later in his career with the Atlanta Braves. That one is driven deep to left field. Going back, Carp looking up. See ya! A 2-run home run for Andrew Jones. And the Yankees lead 6-2.
The trend continues. Let's take a 97-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle on the inner half. Let's launch it in the bullpen. Andrew Jones is 4th on the year.
Russell Martin takes a strike.
One thing Andrew Jones still has is bat speed.
That one is grounded foul.
He may not play center field like he used to, but he can still get the bat head out. He can still drive it and hit the ball a long way. He's got one thing in mind when he gets up to the batter's box. He knows the Yankees got him here in this role to swing the bat hard and hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Has to be a great feeling for a manager. He pushes a button, boom, 2-run home run. So Girardi was just smiling, talking with Jones. Jones always seems to be smiling. Count 1-2.
It doesn't seem like that long ago to me, but that guy right there was the best center fielder in the game for a lot of years. So you see Cody Epley, sidewinder, get loose. Greg Maddux, the great Braves pitcher, told me that this guy is unbelievable in center field in his prime. He watched some Hall of Famers. When you think about those Braves pitching staffs, from Maddux, Glavine, and Smoltz, all three of those guys are going in the Hall of Fame, and they all three owe that guy a lot.
And ironically, he kind of burst upon the public consciousness in the '96 World Series against the guy who's going to start on Sunday, Andy Pettitte. Won 10 Gold Gloves. Only Willie Mays and Roberto Clemente have won more. But Andrew Jones hit a couple of home runs in that first game. And Russell Martin swings and misses. He's 0 for 4 for the second out. And those Gold Gloves were among outfielders. Remember, Jim Cotton won 16 as a pitcher.
Played a very shallow center field. Caught everything in front of him and could still go back and get the deep ones. Although I do remember a fly ball in the '96 World Series that he might have been playing a little too shallow on. In a 1-0 game that Andy Pettitte pitched against John Smoltz. It was Andy Pettitte pitching that Andrew Jones hit those 2 home runs off of in the first game in the '96 World Series as well. Never forget 1996, Michael. I feel like we stole one from the Atlanta Braves and Andrew Jones that year.
Jeter dribbles one slowly to short. The play is made by Ryan, and that will do it. But the Yankees get some breathing room. A pinch hit, 2-run home run by that man, Andrew Jones, coming off the bench and redirecting 97 miles an hour into the bullpen. We go to the ninth. David Robertson and Brett Gardner race go-karts. Plus, get batting tips from Mark Teixeira. It's Yankees on deck tonight after the postgame, and catch a new episode Sunday at noon only on Yes.
Racing go-karts?
That's what I'm hearing. Dwayne Wise takes over in left field, and Boone Logan's still on the mound to face John Jaso. And there's a strike. David Robertson getting up.
You know he's anxious to get back into a game, any game. You have your ERA go from 0 to about 2.5 with 1 innings of work the other night.
There's a strike to Jaso, and the count 2-2. I think Joe would like to get through this without going to Robertson. Swing and a miss. Jaso down on strikes. Now, David mentioned before he thought that Raul Ibanez bore a striking resemblance to all-time actor Yul Brynner. So we decided to check it out. What do you think, David?
Not bad. Pretty good. The eyebrows.
Yeah, the eyebrows. You're right.
The shape of the head. Yeah. Intensity. Ibanez is very intense. And
Yul Brynner was rocking those earrings way before it was cool.
Way ahead of his time.
Really? Justin Smoke 2 for 3 tonight. Switch hitter, so he turns around to the right side against Boone Logan. If Logan gets these 3 outs, he'll get the save. Guess he came in with the Yankees up 2. That means the tying run is on deck. Now they're up by 4 in the 9th, trying to close it out.
going to have to keep this thing going, Michael. You know, you got the Jeff Daniels.
Right. Got to keep an eye out for lookalikes. Dribbled slowly, left side. It's going to be a base hit. So Justin Smoke, who came in 2 for his last 20, is 3 for 4 tonight.
Joe.
They're going to send up Casper Wells to pinch hit for Mike Carr.
Yeah, you usually don't get on the horn unless you're going to do this. And the signal is made.
So David Robertson will come on and try to close this out. Yankees lead 6-2. This is not a save situation. It's a 4-run lead. There's an out in the 9th, and the tying run is not on deck, but the Yankees don't want it to get to that point. So they bring in Robertson after he blew the save in the middle game of the 3-game set against Tampa Bay, giving up 4 runs in the 9th inning. And I guess Joe wants to get him back on the mound as soon as he can.
Well, I guess you can't really expect your ERA to be 0 the whole year. So obviously he shot up there. It was a tough night for him. But it is good to get right back in there. You know, a couple of things. You know, maybe he could have kept Boone Logan in there, but he got Boone Logan out, so he could use Boone Logan again tomorrow night if need be. You know, it's an interesting debate how this bullpen's going to be handled. You know, Robbie was so valuable as the setup guy to Mariano Rivera. And, you know, a lot of people debated that maybe you'd be better off keeping him there and using him more. Maybe 2-inning guy in the 7th and 8th and letting Soriano close for 1 inning. But Robertson, phenomenal stuff. Could probably do either. It's going to be interesting to see the rest of the way how this is handled. One of the problems with a strikeout type closer is the number of pitches it takes to strike all those guys out. Can you work back-to-back in 3 days in a row? And Robertson, a maximum effort guy and a high strikeout total.
Popped up. Shallow right. Swisher will put it away for the second out. So Casper Wells is down. That's what he needs a lot more of. 1 or 2 pitch outs. Because one game against Tampa Bay he threw 25. The game he blew the save he threw 19. And then he couldn't pitch yesterday. They used Soriano and he got the save. He's got to be a bit more economical, and he knows it.
It's hard when you have good moving fastballs and good stuff. It's hard to get the ball to be put into play. A lot of times he gets fouled off and the counts run deep.
Pitch is high to Michael Saunders.
can almost see a little bit of Mariano Rivera and Robertson, though, with that movement on that fastball. He's been sitting next to Mariano for the last few years and certainly learned something from that guy. But Robertson's fastball does something different every time. When it's up, it takes off. When it's down, it darts. But it certainly has a little off-center cut action to it.
Chopper grabbed there by Teixeira, and that'll do it as the Yankees win this one 6-2. Raul Ibanez with a big 3-run home run off Felix Hernandez. David Robertson comes on and gets the final 2 outs. And the Yankees start this 3-game series with a 6-2 victory. Stick around for the postgame show to find out who's tonight's Chevy player of the game. Kuroda pitched well. The Yankee bullpen did its usual fine job. Rapata, Wade, Logan, and Robertson, 4 hits for Cano. And Joe Girardi takes it home with a victory. We got an award to give out, and then we got the postgame show with Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry. So stick around. Yankees celebrating a 6-2 victory here at the stadium over the Mariners.